everybody, welcome to Scuba Diver Magazine. Here I have the Shearwater Perdix 2, or to be slightly more accurate, the Shearwater Perdix 2 Ti, because there's two versions of this. This one, which is the natural titanium, and there's also a matte black version. Still got titanium, but instead of this like natural titanium finish, it's matte black. The Perdix 2 is a full color screen advanced scuba diving computer in a really compact and just ergonomic shape, so that it just fits on your wrist really nicely. On the outside of the 2.2 inch front lens, the glass itself is made from aluminosilicate glass, which has a high resistance to thermal shock, but more importantly, it has a high scratch resistance. It's the type of glass that you tend to see on a lot of modern touch phones that tend to put up with a lot of constant use. So using the same or very similar glass is going to protect it. Still, I always put a screen protector over the top just as an extra layer of protection, really. Around that lens, you have a new titanium bezel that makes the Perdix 2 a bit stronger than the previous plastic version of the Perdix. And down the sides, you can see that we have new titanium piezoelectric buttons that detect when they're pressed, and that creates a bit of a charge, and then it sends a signal inside of the computer. This means that there's no like actual moving part that can create a flood risk, and the buttons work really just as well with gloves as well as they do with bare hands. On the other side, you can see the user changeable battery compartment. The Perdix 2 uses a standard AA battery, so it's really easy to get spares. However, some functions are limited if you're only using really cheap and basic low power AA's. So it's best to only use like 1.5 volt non-rechargeable lithium and 3.7 volt lithium rechargeable batteries. But depending on which AA's batteries you're using and the other variables like temperature and how much you're using the compass and all that good stuff, you can get upwards of 100 hours of battery life out of the Perdix 2. Underneath, you can see how the Perdix is, of course, shaped to wrap around your wrist, and the base is molded to give you the option of fitting either the supplied pair of elastic buckled straps, which are about 3/4 of an inch or 90 millimeters across. There's a pair of those that run parallel, or you can use the supplied bungee cord, which is like 3/16 inch or 4 mil in diameter, depending on your preference and how you want the computer attached onto your wrist. The Perdix measures 81 millimeters wide, 71 millimeters long, and 39 millimeters deep at its deepest part, and the computer itself, without a battery, is weighing in at 190 grams. On the inside, behind the full color screen, you have multiple diving modes, from the traditional air and nitrox in recreational mode to open circuit tech mode that has multi-gas trimix inside. You also have fixed PPO2 closed circuit with a quick switch to a bailout during the dive, so that you don't need to fiddle around too much with your computer if you ever need to bail out. And all of these are on the Buhlmann algorithm with adjustable gradient factors, with optional VPMB and DCIEM algorithms if you want to. You can input 5 mixed gases in total and turn them on and off for your dives, and the Perdix 2 gives you full control of the exact amount of oxygen and helium in your mixes. And finally, it has gauge mode as well, where the Perdix 2 will act like a depth gauge and bottom timer, but it's not going to monitor your decompression. The Perdix has a built-in 3-axis tilt-compensated digital compass to keep you swimming in the correct direction, and Bluetooth on the inside makes downloading dives and updating the Perdix 2 very easy. Shearwater have a desktop app, and they also have an app for your smartphone so that you can download your log dives from your Perdix 2 onto either of those, and you can also update the firmware as Shearwater releases regular updates and bug fixes. So the Perdix 2 is also air integrated and can connect to up to 4 wireless air transmitters. One of the new features on the Perdix 2 compared to the previous version is that the Perdix 2 has a strong vibration alert feature to really get your attention without alerting the entire dive site, but this is one of the functions that is battery dependent. You need a very powerful battery like the ones that I mentioned at the beginning to use that vibration alert. That's about it for the Perdix as far as features go, but let's see how it arrives and the box that it comes in. This is how it arrives in a very stereotypical Shearwater box. It looks and feels very much like the previous generation. Most Shearwater dive computers come in this nice compact little box. Comes with a sleeve, got a picture of the new Perdix on the front, Perdix 2, Shearwater on the side, and it's got serial numbers and whatnot on the underneath. So just take note of that. There's more information. I think it's just a quick start guide, if you can see that. On the inside of the sleeve, so yeah, you can undo that and you've got the quick start guide. It's got a warning, don't use it unless you understand its limitation, all that good stuff with dive computers that you usually get. Box itself, traditional EVA case, so it's that semi-rigid kind of case. It's going to protect what's inside. Double zipper. It does have a small little D-ring on that, so you can clip it off and keep it safe inside of your kit bag, so it's not rolling around quite so much. And yeah, that Shearwater logo just raised up on the top. Inside, we have a tiny little book of words, dive computer instructions for use. There's most likely a digital version. In fact, I know for a fact because I did have a quick look through the instruction manual. But you do get a hard copy if you want to brush up on that on the plane or something. The dive computer itself comes with a sticky like screen guard with a brief sort of look at the recreational screen with the compass on it. We'll take a closer look at the compass in the the computer in the next section. We also get some bungee elastic straps. So these are like webbing straps. They're nice and chunky and they've got some stretch to them, but they also have pinch buckles to like quick release, and they have a locking mechanism in there so they don't undo themselves during the dive. A pair of those, so you wear them side by side, and you also get some, this looks like 4mm bungee cord with some paper tape. So you can pick and choose between them, as I mentioned, depending on personal preference, whether you want that like quick release, so it's a bit easier to put on your wrist, or the bungee, so there's no like failure points, but you do have to kind of slide it over your wrist. Personal preference, Shearwater gives you the choice. You also get a Shearwater sticker. So if you want to represent, and attention, this dive computer works best with a 1.5 battery recommendations, and so that you know which ones you're getting. Oh, and another long sticker again, so you can represent. In the top of the box itself, you have a small mesh zippered section, and inside here there's a small biodegradable bag, no more plastic, and inside here we can see I have a battery compartment tool. So this you just attach onto a keyring or something, and it's so that you can open up that battery compartment. Instead of using a coin or something, you have something that is the correct size, because it is just a plastic material. You don't want to scratch it. And yeah, just attach that onto your keychain or whatever. You also get a pair of blue O-rings, so replacement O-rings for that battery compartment, again to make sure that it doesn't flood. A small aluminium bolt snap, no, not bolt snap, carabiner, so you can attach that onto the that little D-ring. You also get a piece of paper, product information, again, just another quick start guide, but it's got all these like QR barcodes, so you can scan those and download the relevant manual that you need from their online servers. And you also get a quality control checklist ticked off by everyone, and again it's got that serial number, so you know that the dive computer has been checked over, it's in full working condition, it's got everything that you need. Okay, so let's power it up, and I'll take you for a quick look around the computer. So let's take a look at the user interface. So this is a 2-button user interface, one on either side, and if I push them both together, that's how you activate the dive computer, and it's going to wake up. It vibrates twice, just to let you know that the vibration function is on. You can of course turn the vibration function off if you don't want it. But yeah, now we have the recreational dive mode. This is how it looks, a nice clean open information. The lower section is your like auxiliary information, and you do actually have some say in what's displayed on this. Once you go through the menu, you can start to adjust some of that information, but during the dive, if you press the right hand button, it cycles through like auxiliary information like the compass you just saw and more information, and if you keep going it'll come back to the beginning. The left button is going into the menu structure. So as you press that, the first one is turn off, so it's very quick and easy to switch off. You press the right hand button if you want to switch it off, and then if you keep going it just cycles through the menu structure and then back to the beginning. So select gas, dive setup. So if we dive into dive setup, this is one nice thing about the user interface, is that it actually spells out exactly what each button does. So if you don't want to define gas, you hit next. So next, and it goes through to the next structure inside of that that menu. So you can just go through all of this and set it up just exactly how you want. Then it comes back to the like top layer, and then dive log. Let's see if this has a log actually on it already. So it has one from the factory, and it has the quick brief notes of it. So your maximum depth and your dive time, the date, and fact, I presume just means factory. So we want to view this one. So view. And it shows you a quick little graph, more information about the dive profile and everything. And if you want to know more information, you can go more, or if you want to go back, you can go back. So I want to know more. So cycle through. This is the water temperature by the looks of it. More information, even more info. So it's very intuitive as far as what these two bits of information mean. So I'm just going to go back, 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 back. And then if you had more than one, you could go to next, but there's only one, so it goes down to exit. So I want to exit. Keep cycling through. Bluetooth, so you can set that up, pair that to your smartphone. System setup. So going into here, we have more of the system setup. So you can cycle through all these different menus, or if you want to go into one and change anything like the salinity or the dive mode, you can hit edit and then drop down into that. Next, Buhlmann. Gradient factor ZHL 16C, so that's your diving algorithm. Conservatism is medium, it's set to a 40-85 gradient factor. And again, if you want to go into any of these, you just hit enter. Next, wireless air integration, the bottom row. So this is how you can change that information on the bottom row. So if I did want to change it, I didn't want my maximum depth or the water temperature and time there, I wanted to swap those out. You hit edit. And it drops down, so the center information is maximum depth. Do I want to edit that? Yes. So then I can change that to average depth, your partial pressure, MOD, or just all this information. And you can have that set to any of these, depending on whatever you want. Oh, it had a compass, that's kind of cool. Mini 2 has quite a lot of information on that. So I'm just going to hit setup. Oh, okay, I can change this information as well. So it's very, very customizable. So you can have it exactly how you like it. And if you want to change the right information, you go down to right, and then you can cycle through the exact same sort of menu structure. And yeah, very customizable, so you can have it exactly how you want it, the information where you want. And then move on to the next one. There are different nitrox gases, so you can set these up. And if it's purple, it basically means it's off. So the dive computer, it knows that you dive with this particular gas mix quite frequently, but for this dive, you don't have it, so it's switched off. Cycling through the different alerts, the display setup, whether it's metric or imperial, all that kind of stuff. Flip screen, if you want to flip it over so the battery's downwards, depending on your preference, you can have it set up. The compass, just general system information, advanced configuration, and then it takes you back to the main screen. So very quick and easy and intuitive once you get used to the two buttons and just checking down at that bottom corner what each button does. It's a very intuitive user interface. So, who's the Perdix 2 for? Perdix 2 is really made for demanding divers who want to do some pretty advanced technical diving, but thanks to its recreational mode on the inside, it's also for divers who are just starting out as well, so it's full spectrum. If you're just starting out, but you do have the ambition to go do some really advanced diving later on in your career, and of course you only want to buy one computer instead of buying one and then having to reinvest in another computer, then the Perdix 2 will do that for you. When you start, the recreational mode has a different screen layout to the technical mode, and it hides some of the more complicated settings in the background so that you can still understand it and use it as a recreational dive computer and build up your knowledge of how it works and how the user interface works, all that kind of stuff. But then when you advanced and you move into the technical diving realm, you can flick that switch and then move on to tech mode. By that time, yeah, you've got used to the Perdix 2, the user interface, and you have that strong foundation with it, and you're just learning the new features on top. Instead of having to buy a second dive computer and then get used to that brand new dive computer because your first computer won't have the features that you want for the advanced technical diving. So right now, the Perdix 2 will set you back 1,370 Canadian dollars for this version, the bared natural titanium, or $1,420 for the matte black version. So it is a pricey dive computer. It's not the most expensive dive computer out there by far, but is it worth it though? You are getting a lot of dive computer. If you're not planning to ever do any like technical diving ever, then it is probably a bit much. But for technical divers who need a computer that can keep up with their needs, Perdix 2 is a real powerhouse. But let me know down in the comments below what you think about the Shearwater Perdix 2. I'll pop a link up here in the corner that links to one of our affiliates so that you can check out the Perdix 2 and buy it from them. Otherwise, please like this video and subscribe to the Scuba Diving Magazine channel. And if you have any questions about the Perdix 2 whilst I have it, or anything else at all, by all means, throw those questions down in the comments section under this video. Thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.